cow is like a factory. Somebody who brings home one dairy cow is like another person who gets a portion meal. The person who buys a portion meal must first and foremost know that for him to get flour, he must put a certain amount of maize in the portion meal. That maize will go through stage 1, 2, 3, and 4 and produce flour. He should also know what quality of maize he should put into the meal, and at what time and when should he expect flour. He knows that if he puts in maize that is wet, he will not get good quality flour. And he also knows that if he puts in 4 kgs of good dry maize, and if everything in the process is right, he will be able to get so many kgs of flour. A dairy farmer should also know what he must put into his cow, because milk is actually put in the cow. One limiting factor has been that when we were all born, most of us, when we were born, there was a cow outside our father's house, and we didn't really pay attention to it. But times have changed. Nowadays, we don't just get milk from a cow. We manipulate the cow to give us milk. To get milk, a cow first and foremost requires a lot of energy. A cow requires energy to stand, energy to walk, energy to eat, energy to lie down, energy to digest feed, energy to produce milk. And that is why out of all that a cow takes, 70% of the feed that a cow takes should be able to supply energy to the cow. This energy is wrapped up in most cases in what the cow takes. It is found in the kind of feeds that you give to your cow. It could be found in the vines. It can be found in lucerne. It can be found in the run. It can also be found in grass. But a dairy farmer should know one thing, that the kind of energy they are giving to their cow should be in a state that is available to the cow easily. We say it should be in a metabolizable state, because sometimes you can give your cow energy, but that energy is so bound. It is wrapped up in a state that is not readily available to the cow. So a cow will spend so much time trying to extract that energy until part of that feed becomes time-barred in the rumen and now passes through the system unutilized. And if you don't manipulate that process, you realize that only a percentage of what you gave to your cow is utilized. The rest of the energy is found in the cow dung. Now, this is very tricky, because in this era, when even hay is money, whatever we are feeding our cows costs us money. It is not wise to feed a cow 100 kg only for a cow to utilize 30 or 40 kg and throw 60 or 30 kg or 40 kg as cow dung. So there is need in modern dairy farming to understand that process, to understand the energy you are giving to your cow, how readily available it is, so that you can maximally extract it and turn it into milk, turn it into body weight, turn it into growth, turn it into health of your animal. After you have supplied your cow with energy, you have just started the process of milk production in your cow, because your cow actually is a factory of producing milk. After supplying energy, you need at least 30% of what you feed your cow to supply your cow with protein. Milk production has very high demand for energy and protein. Where a cow requires 70% energy, she requires about 30% protein. Now, the protein that you give to your cow should also be in a state that the cow can easily access. If it is so complicated, if it is bound by, say, lignin or by certain antinutritive factors, like, say, the kind of protein that would be found in what we use in feeding our animals like soya, then you would realize that your cow would get a bit of the protein that you give it, and part of it will pass through the system unutilized. And you can only know you are wasting when you take the cow dung of your cow and analyze it in a laboratory. Then you realize that that cow dung has a lot of energy, that cow dung has a lot of protein. Yet, the main purpose why you're buying protein, the main purpose why you're buying energy was so that you can convert it into body mass, or you can convert it into milk in your cow. So, farmers must start paying attention to what is the state in which their protein is in. What state is their energy in? After you have supplied energy and protein, a dairy farmer should also realize that for them to optimize on whatever they're feeding their cows and get maximum yield, their animals should also get minerals. And when we talk about minerals or salts, we are not talking about sodium chloride or the red salt that normally farmers give to their cows. Ideally, when we talk about minerals, we are talking about minerals like calcium and phosphorus. Where a cow requires, say, 2 calcium, she requires about 1 phosphorus. And that ratio should be very carefully adhered to, because it is a ratio in which these minerals are found within the bodies of animals, within the bodies of things. And when we tamper with that ratio, there is a challenge, because when for example, the ratio of phosphorus to calcium is not right, phosphorus has a tendency of binding calcium and making that calcium unavailable to the cow, such that if you don't take care, your cow cannot start utilizing calcium. And even if you give it so much calcium, the cow would still suffer from, say, milk fever. And therefore, farmers, we advise farmers to be very careful when they are sourcing for mineral supplements, and not to come and concoct unless they have the expertise in their own farms. Some farmers make a mistake. They buy some from one company, salt from one company, and another one from another company, and another one from another company, and they mix, and then they start serving their cows, saying that they have now a hybrid good salt. But the challenge is, because you don't know the source of each one of these companies, the source of their minerals, chances are that you tamper with certain very crucial ratios, and finally you end up undermining your milk production. A dairy farmer, you realize that now, when you are into the process of producing milk, even after you have supplied the energy, you have supplied the protein, you have supplied the calcium and phosphorus, you still need to supply trace elements. Now, the trace elements are very minute. You need them in very minute forms, yet they are very crucial. Because if you don't supply them, you will start undermining the purpose for which you supplied all these other things. Because milk production, each one of those trace elements like iron, like zinc, like manganese and all those, they play very crucial roles in milk production. So a dairy farmer really does not have an option of whether they want to supplement with minerals or not. They are part of the game. They are the raw materials required. Energy is a raw material for milk production. Protein is a raw material for milk production. Calcium and phosphorus are raw materials for milk production. Trace elements are raw materials for milk production. But after that, a dairy farmer should also know that to produce milk, they still need vitamins. Yes, naturally, cows that are grazing on succulent stuff like this, and green stuff like this, or even well-dried stuff like this, they can still access vitamins. But the problem is that sometimes, because of where these crops are grown, there can be 1 or 2 crucial vitamins that are lacking within that vicinity. And if you don't supplement, your animals will suffer because of the deficiency caused by those minute vitamins that are lacking, and yet you don't want to undermine your business of milk production. Therefore, that's what comes into play and demands that you supplement vitamins in your dairy farming.